We might not be getting just one Stargate movie, we might be getting a trilogy. Welcome to Sidetrack, your sci-fi TV movie channel. So in my last video, please go back and check it, I talked about how Amazon might be considering doing a hard reboot of the Stargate franchise. Now that is, a hard reboot basically means the universe didn't exist, they can just start again, new characters, new actors, new everything, and they don't have to worry about the canon from the original series and the original film. Now this was a plan that actually Dean Devlin and Roland Emmerich, that wrote and directed the original Stargate movie from 1994, came up with at the time. So originally in 1994, the movie was always supposed to be a trilogy, and then in 2016 they pitched that again to MGM, and there was briefly a deal between MGM and Warner Brothers to make this trilogy. There was going to be a hard reboot. Amazon seemed to be dusting those plans off. So let's have a look at what we know. So, if they go ahead with this plan, the first film will basically be a reboot of the original Stargate movie. I imagine the storyline will be slightly different, we'll be seeing different Goa'uld. They'll do a Star Trek thing with this, and like the Klingons, the Goa'uld will look mental, probably. And they will basically remake that first movie. The whole idea of that first film is it's supposed to be still based around the Egyptian mythology. Now the second movie, we have a working title for, because they were initially going in 2016 to just make a sequel to the original Stargate film, and apparently Kurt Russell and James Spader were both interested. The plan now would be to be a complete reboot of the entire trilogy, but back in 2016 this was the plan. They were going to do a sequel. That sequel is going to be called First Gods. Now that is the working title. So, what can we surmise from that? Because I don't know any more than that. I know the working title. But what can we surmise from that? Well, the first gods for me, if we're looking at our own history, would probably be based around the Sumerian gods, the Anunnaki. Now, the Anunnaki is very popular in ancient alien theory. They are considered to be the first gods. Sumerian texts and the writing in this area at the time was some of the first, actually pretty much the first writing we've ever seen. It was the first organised culture, and it seems to have been the first organised religion we know about. So what is the Anunnaki? Well, for one, I should actually say the Anunnaki and the Nephilim actually do appear in the Bible. They're considered to be fallen angels in the Bible. And we all know what they say, what ancient aliens theories say about fallen angels, that they're really aliens. And actually, if you swap the word God for alien, the Bible all of a sudden makes a lot more sense. So in the ancient alien version of the Anunnaki are an alien race from the planet Nibiru. They came to Earth and actually found primitive human beings, cavemen basically, and turned them into a more intelligent species. They turned them into Homo sapiens, they turned them into us. They pre-programmed us to love gold. And we actually dig all the gold up and make watches and things out of it, not because it's valuable to us, but because we're programmed to think it's valuable, because the Anunnaki need it. And when the Anunnaki return, they're going to basically make us all empty our jewellery boxes out. It's a very simplified version of that story, but you get the hint. So, the Anunnaki live on the planet Nibiru, which is sometimes an alien planet from, light years away, but sometimes considered to be actually a planet within our solar system. And I think that would make sense for what they're planning for the second movie. So, first movie Egyptians, second movie Anunnaki, and based on the Sumerian texts, and then a third movie that'll bring it all together. Amazon could make these three movies with some very small changes that doesn't destroy canon, and that we could then see a TV series that just continue the SG-1 Stargate Atlantis stories, and we could stay within this universe. All that Amazon has to do is make these three movies off-world. Don't base them on Earth. We know there's a galaxy full of humans out there. This could be very easily done. We could create these three films along these storylines, one Egyptian, one Sumerian, one that brings it all together. Just don't set it on Earth. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Don't piss all over canon. Do it off Earth. Have these movies influence what happens on Earth in this TV series, but you never connect the two. They can be separate still. Now that would allow Amazon to then make a big budget, big Hollywood stars movie. They could have actors in this film that they would never be able to get in the TV series. And that is one consideration these executives make, you know. They're not Disney Plus, they're not the Marvel Universe. They are going to struggle to even get their lesser characters into a TV series. Particularly a TV series that would then repeat year on year. So, don't try. But also, don't annoy every gator out there and do a hard reboot. You know we don't like it. You know it winds us up, and it almost never works. Battlestar Galactica is probably the only example of a hard reboot that's ever been successful and ever worked. But the main reason for that was there was 40 years, maybe 30 years, between Battlestar Galactica and the reboot. There's only been, now, Roland Emmerich said there's 20 years, 25 years now between the original Stargate movie in 1994 and the new movie. It's nearly 30 years. But SG-1's only been gone 15 years. There's not a big gap there. You know, we could have a continuation of the story very easily. It doesn't need to be rebooted. And it's not like, as well, say something like Flash Gordon, where they made a movie in 1980. That's quite dated at the time, you know. It's a reboot wouldn't hurt that really, that franchise, because it's been 40 years since the original. The original was quite dated in the time. It was very 1980s movie. It wasn't made with the biggest budget in the world, so a reboot could work. I actually think Highlander is another film that's desperate for a reboot, but SG-1 and Stargate doesn't fall into that category. The material we have of Stargate still stands up today. The 1994 movie still looks good today. The TV series still looks good today. In fact, it's one of Amazon's highest rated sci-fi shows on Amazon Prime at the moment. It doesn't need to be redone, so don't. The fans don't want it, so don't do it. So please, go on to my Twitter page. The link is in the description. Hashtag #BringBackStargate. Make your voice heard. Put in the comments. Do tweets. Make your opinion heard. Go onto my Facebook channel. Do the same. Put a comment on this video. Share this video. We need to get this out there, and we need to get it heard as quickly as possible, because I don't want this. I want these movies, but I do not want a hard reboot. I do not want Dean Devlin and Roland Emmerich to do what they want on this movie, because they are only loyal to the original Stargate film, and they think they want to basically ignore the TV series. We need to support Brad Wright on this, who does seem to be making a lot of noise himself, trying to get Amazon to listen and trying to get Amazon to make the project he's developed with MGM. Let's get out there and let's support him. Make as much noise as you can, Gators. Otherwise, Amazon are going to do whatever the hell they like. And they're not going to consider our wants. They're going to think they know what we want. Let's make sure we tell them loudly that we don't want a hard reboot. Right, thanks guys. If you are new to the channel, please like, subscribe, hit that bell notification, do all those button pushing things you got to do. And like I say, please join the channel if you can. It really helps me to create new content, and you will get all these videos 24 hours before everybody else. So thanks very much. Please stay safe, and I will see you next time.